to just bounce hundreds of messages off of each day. Do you think technology, though clearly expanding human connections, has debilitating consequences on sincere relationships and the educational and enlightening experiences that we can gain from those?
Well, if we go back sort of pre-technology, when everybody had a farm about 16 hours a day, it wasn't a very social environment. So, to the degree that you can hang out at all, you've got to thank technology. The fact that we can, feed ourselves, have weekends off, all these things, it lets us pursue our human interests. Whenever there's been new technology, like when the book came along, there was a huge worry that people wouldn't actually go out and do things. They would just sit and read about it. Some kids like me may have read too many books when I was young. But I don't see anything that's going on today that's really, in a broad sense, in that not positive. Certainly you have the stories of kids who play computer games more than they should, don't get out and exercise, don't get involved face-to-face in some ways, and parents have a role there to make sure that they try and limit that. But overall, and the fact that you can Skype back to people where you come from, the fact that you can see the conditions in poor countries and feel, okay, I understand why they need this breakthrough, and I can think how to apply my scientific knowledge or my marketing knowledge to help with that particular problem. I see it as overwhelmingly positive. Certainly if you look from a governmental point of view, the openness of the information, the availability of the information has been a very pro-good governance type thing. And so overall, I'm very positive on it, enabling us to express our innate desire for social interaction. Here in the center.
So I know that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has obviously been one of the most powerful organizations of its kind, and obviously has had a huge net benefit for the world. But at the same time, somewhat paradoxically, I've heard concerns raised by smaller NGOs that because of the sheer amount of resources behind the foundation, that there's almost a crowding out effect, in the sense that the foundation has a monopolistic power. Monopolistic power in the development market. But again, obviously the foundation is for the greater good. But I've heard concerns that to the effect of that smaller organizations see their funding dry up as soon as donors know that the foundation has entered that particular market. So do you think these concerns are legitimate? And if so, how does the foundation work to address them?
Well, you can look at the two areas we're in, which are global health. And you can say, since we've been in those areas, what is the trend in terms of other giving, either government, other foundation, or individual type giving in those areas? In global health, other foundation is up by a factor of 5, individual giving is up by a factor of 3, government giving is up by a factor of 2. So, it's one of our very explicit goals that when we're involved in malaria, that we do something like Nothing But Nets, which is a partnership we have with the NBA, or the partnership we have with the Lutheran Church, where they got the message out about that. They raised a lot of money. And we have a partnership with Rotary on polio, where they've done just unbelievable work to increase the amount of money raised to get this polio eradication done. So it's very important that if we're in a field, is more money put into that. It is important to have the numbers in perspective. For example, on health, our foundation spend a little under 1.8 billion a year on health. And that includes everything: AIDS, malaria, TB, Lyme vaccines, everything. The NIH budget is 30 billion a year. The pharma drug company R&D budgets, not including their marketing or anything, is about 50 billion a year. And those pharma, that 50 billion a year is covering rich world diseases, which is about an equal number to the poor world diseases that we're trying to cover. And so, per disease, we're pretty small. Now we have gotten donor awareness up. The U.S. government has gotten very generous on AIDS medicine and getting that out. We did a pilot project in Botswana, which is the one that the PEPFAR project got based off of, because we proved, together with our partner Merck, that in Africa you could deliver ARVs, and so that mind-blowing, incredible scale-up, totally supported by U.S. taxpayers, $5 billion a year now, was a phenomenal thing in a case of a new donor coming in. Likewise in education, our spending on education is less than 1% of what the state of New York spends on education. So it's a very small thing. So all we can do is fund pilot things where we'll show that, hey, a charter school is educating people very well, and the costs are actually less than are being spent in the other public schools. So I wish, our money was a high percentage of the money for education. If people think that by going into malaria and encouraging other people to go into malaria, the criticism I've heard other places, actually the opposite of what you just said, is that we get more people to do what we're doing, as opposed to get less people to do what we're doing. But anyway, the fact that people do more on malaria, I don't apologize for. I think that's a good thing. All right, next.